John of the Eye Patch, Chapter 35. It was only a few hours ago that John was locked in a cell in the basement of Blackbeard's tower, and now he was faced with something worse. Babysitters. They sat in the Days of Gold public house, where Kofi and Sean drank grog like they had just wandered out of the desert, while John stared fearfully at the tan liquid that they claimed was water. Out the window, he saw the Dragon of Plunder. Ropes were being hauled up from the dock. It would be sailing from the Sioux in mere minutes. John needed a way onto that ship. You know, I'm old enough to watch out for myself, he said. On the non-pondy watch. Kofi emptied a cup of grog. And, we don't want you to try any of that wizardry. Sean refilled both of the pirate's mugs. I wouldn't dream of it, John said, while looking out the window at the Dragon of Plunder and doing his best to dream of a way to escape. The sails unfurled to quartermast. The ship began to move away. No time to be clever, John realized. He kicked the table hard enough to spill Kofi and Sean's grog. Golden liquid raced across the table, causing both pirates to jump up, kicking over their stools. Avast ye! Woo-hoo-hoo! Kofi yelled. John put his sneakers against either side of his wrists, resting the edge of the sneakers against the rope, while tucking his thumb against his pinky finger. He pushed with his legs, and the rope dragged over his hand, scraping his skin and cutting him in several places before he was able to slip free. I've got to catch that ship! John jumped up onto the table, further spilling the pirate's drinks, and he deftly leapt to the next table over, which got him close enough to the window to grab the curtain rod, and then he swung his feet through the first, letting his momentum carry him outside to the street, where he landed on his feet and was instantly at a run. He ran down the dock at full sprint. The Dragon of Plunder pulled away from the docks. It was already too far for him to reach. But there was a rowboat moored at the end of the dock. John leapt to the rowboat, took 3 dashing steps along its length, and jumped as hard as he could towards the retreating Dragon of Plunder. His body slammed against the back of the ship. His hands scrambled for anything they could grab, eventually getting hold of a loose piece of rigging that hadn't been completely hauled aboard yet. He climbed to the aft windows and pulled himself inside. Cabin boy! Cabin boy! The black parrot cried from its corner roost. Shh! Hush! John whispered at the bird. Cabin boy! The hatch to the cabin opened, and John scrambled for the only hiding place in the room, diving and rolling to get under the central table. Cabin boy! The bird left its perch and flew towards the table. John recognized Blackbird's boots as the pirate stepped up to the table. Oh, consternation. I miss the lad, too. It's certainly about a lot easier going up against Blackbeard with a wizard on our side. John considered revealing himself to Blackbird. He felt certain the pirate would be on his side and keep him around for the inevitable showdown with Queen Anne's revenge. Convincing his mom to not just turn the ship around, now that would be a challenge. What am I saying? There's no way he could really be a wizard. I mean, how could a wizard be kept captive by a cook and a boatswain? Cabin boy, the bird repeated. Oh, you know you're right. He was just a cabin boy with one good disappearing trick. What good is that against someone like Blackbeard? Blackbird paced in the cabin. And if he's not a wizard, all we have to do is convince the crew to toss his mom overboard. Without Mary, we don't even have to fight Blackbeard. That means we can go straight to the island and steal his treasure. He walked briskly towards the door to the main deck. John slipped out from under the table, stood, and declared, You'll do no such thing. Blackbird whirled so fast that he tripped himself and stumbled, nearly falling to the ground. As he righted himself, he said, John of the Eye Patch! I've really missed you. "You'll not harm my mom," John said. "Never dream of it." Blackbird fiddled with the buttons on his coat. His voice rose awkwardly as he said, "Why, what makes you say that?" John could tell him that he was right there in the room, but he didn't think that would do much to impress Blackbeard. Instead, John improvised and said, "As a wizard, I can hear conversations from a long distance away." "You can?" Blackbird stiffened. He started unbuttoning and rebuttoning his coat. "I heard everything you said." "You did?" "Would a wizard really be held captive by a cook and a boatswain?" "That's what I said," Blackbird exclaimed. "I know. I was saying it because I heard you saying it," John said. "Oh." Blackbird took off his hat and he scratched his head. "Well, so about tossing your mom overboard. That was, well, it's a figure of speech, like saying, hang him from the yardarm, so no hard feelings or anything, right? As long as you don't tell my mom I'm here, I won't tell her what you said." "Sounds like a deal," and Blackbird stuck his hand out to shake. John had a sinking feeling that the first thing Blackbird would do after returning to the deck would probably be to tell Mary the Unmerciful that her son was a stowaway.